So I hope you have some good information to share with us today. So
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, DataVox, for setting up this entire event, letting us be a part of this. For the Experience Lounge, we're grateful. Anyone that hasn't been down there, definitely go check it out. It's very interactive. All of our products are on display. Today, as our product continues to grow and grow, we can chew up a lot of time in a demo. So we're going to move pretty quick through different products, highlight some of the cooler features that people are using, try to show off the integration. But if you see something you like today, definitely come down to the Experience Lounge. We've got several people in there that can walk you through any of the products in depth. So with that, we'll just start. My name is Matt Brizendine. I'm an enterprise account executive for state and local government accounts here in Houston. I hail from Beaumont, Texas, but I spend a lot of my time out here. So nice to meet all of you today, and thank you for coming. The game plan would be for kickoff, just going to talk a bit about hybrid cloud security, sort of why we view ourselves as a disruptive company in this space. We do see Verkada as a disruptor, similar to how Airbnb was disruptive to hotels or Uber was disruptive to the taxi cab industry. We see Verkada as a disruptor in the physical security space. And we're going to talk about how we tackle complexity with a user-friendly native integration. So we've seen physical security move very quickly from the analog world to the digital age, and we looked up and had a lot of digital silos that are very technical products and lack integration, right? That's one of the biggest challenges that security departments face that we hear is no integration across the products, slowing down investigations, and then just the technical nature of those products continuing to drive IT in front of the traditional security teams who have the soft skills that we want to see at the helm, things like weapons training and guys who stay calm whenever people like me are climbing under the desk. And so Verkada is going to talk today. We're going to talk a bit about how we approach those two problems head on. And then intercepting threats. Really, I think about security as I learn about this. I come from Dell Technologies, and I've entered the physical security world for about 3 years now. And as I learn more and more about it, I'm understanding that new detection capabilities are emerging every day. But it's easy to get sucked in on detection capabilities, but it's really about how do we respond when we do detect a threat. And so we'll talk a bit about how Verkada kind of takes those integrated products and creates an automated instantaneous triage event anytime you detect a threat in your environment. So to start, I'm going to walk through a little bit of company history. I won't kill you guys with slides. We're going to jump into the demo very quickly, but I do want to give you some background. So Verkada is currently the fastest growing physical security manufacturer in the world. We hail from San Mateo, California, but we've got 19 offices now around the globe, 11 of those in the United States. The closest one here in Texas is in Austin. We have over 25,000, I need to update my slides. We have over 25,000 organizations today using Verkada. Over 7,000 of those are state and local government customers, which is kind of where I'm typically communicating. And then we work with DataVox exclusively as a reseller. So just little joke there. Let me sweep past this one. So the company is founded in 2016 by Hans Robertson and 3 computer scientists from MIT and Stanford. They basically got together with the goal to create a modern enterprise physical security system. So what does it mean to be a modern enterprise physical security system? Basically, we wanted to take all these different products that we see in the digital space of physical security and layer on native integration so that the product is user-friendly enough for people from any background, whether it's technical or not, to get in here and drive the system. And then allow you to expedite investigations and create automated responses when you're looking at cross-referencing data from, say, a camera system and an access control system, things like that. And then the vision is to be an operating system for the physical world. So today you're going to see a bunch of security products from Verkada, but as a vision for our company, we will move over time into things like HVAC, audio, video, lighting, and ultimately want to be a single console that everything from facilities, maintenance, and security can interoperate inside that console. So these are the products that we have today. The only one that isn't on here is our latest product, which is a wireless gateway. We'll talk about that a bit as well, but they're very aesthetically pleasing, good looking products. It's going to look great on your building. And then if you see anything here that you have an active need for, definitely come down to the Experience Lounge and let us dive into that a little deeper with you. I just want to talk a moment about architecture for anyone who's working in these environments. This would be sort of how we differentiate. A big part of it is our architecture. So most camera systems are going to be IP devices out on the edge connected to a switch, some sort of a server in the back, DVR, NVR. That's where all the footage is going to get stored. You access that footage either locally with a PC or a video wall. And if you do want to have remote access to the environment, that's where you're getting IT to do port forwarding, which is how you can introduce the cybersecurity threats to the business. So before I move off this slide, the simplest way to describe what Verkada is doing that's different is as technology gets smaller and smaller, like we've seen with cell phones and all of these other products, we take everything that sits behind this switch right here and we essentially build it into the device now. So as an example, you take a Verkada camera out of the box, that camera is going to have all the compute, memory, storage, analytic software, operating system built inside of it, so that to bring that camera to life, you take it out of the box, plug it into power over Ethernet. We do data and power over one cable. You mount it to the wall and you're done. We do all the updates on the system. We do all the patches on the system. So no longer are you required to come in on a weekend, shut the system down, do a version update. We're going to take care of all that the same way Tesla treats their vehicles. So you know, as an example, we have customers in 2016, 2017 that were buying cameras for traditional surveillance. 2017, we released facial recognition, vehicle search, characteristic search. All those customers woke up, went to work one day and had new capabilities. So that's how we battle, you know, technology obsolescence. And we provide a 10-year hardware and software support on all of our products. So a lot of times the question we get is with 10-year support, you know, we keep our technology 5 or 6 years and we replace it. So we're going to push those updates and new capabilities to your products over the lifetime so that they continue to get better. This is a little bit same story here with access control, just to kind of show you how we differentiate. Traditional access control, you're going to have readers out on the edge. You're going to connect those back to door controllers, and those are going to consolidate into what we call master controllers. Then you get technology to do any layer 3 connectivity across buildings, and then you're going to manage that typically from some sort of a keyboard video monitor set up on a wall like you see pictured here. What Verkada is doing that's different is really just minimizing some of that on-prem infrastructure and IT requirements. So we take our readers, connect them back to a panel that connects to the internet, removes the need for all the layer 3 connectivity. First question I always get is what happens if we lose data and power? All the permissions, all the schedules is all stored in the panel, and it has up to 8 hours of battery backup. You can extend that battery backup as well. So in the event of an internet and power outage, you're going to hold your schedules, hold your door locking. All your credentials will stay in place until the power comes back up, at which point you could log into Command, the name of our integrated software, and make changes to the schedule or anything like that. So you're not bound on a connection to the cloud, which is what we're talking about here. You're not bound on a connection to the cloud to run these systems because, again, really important takeaway, the data is actually on-prem. So a lot of people think it's a hybrid cloud solution. You're streaming data to the cloud. There's a couple challenges with that. The first one's obviously bandwidth consumption. If you're streaming, you know, footage to the cloud and you're sprawling cameras everywhere, and you got students bringing more devices and all these things happening on the network, we tout one of the lowest bandwidth consumptions in the market at about 30 to 50 kilobits per second, which would be like the equivalent of sending an email, say, every 10 seconds to the cloud, because we store data on the device. So we do up to 365-day retention on a 5 megapixel camera built into the device. We do up to 90-day retention on a 4K camera, all of which is recording 24/7. So we've seen a lot of examples where you go to court over something and you're only recording on motion, and the very first thing an attorney is going to do is pick at the footage you don't have. So we're going to record 24/7 and ensure 30, 60, 90, 120, or 365-day retention on the device. You make a decision at the point of purchase, what retention do we need? And you can start with just one camera because of that architecture, or you can start with 1,000 cameras. You're not limited in any capacity. There's no conversations around, hey, if you don't start with 16 cameras, you're overpaying for the DVR capacity, et cetera. Right? It's just standalone device. One camera is a fully functioning Verkada customer, 1,000 fully functioning Verkada customer. And that same logic applies to access control, intercoms, all these other products. The reason we talk through the lens of cameras is because that's the data hog. That's where all the data is coming from. So if we can manage data within the device on a camera, we can certainly do it on an access control reader or an intercom or something like that. So I'd just like to pause there for a quick, any questions in the room, just to make sure I'm not leaving anyone behind. I know I moved kind of quickly through that, but I don't want to spend too much time on the slides. Looks like everybody's good, right on. And then again, we put this dotted line over the cloud because we want you to understand that with the data on-prem, we have the ability to fail over to the local area network. So what do you get with the license, right? We get a lot of questions about the license. I'll address that up front. We remove the maintenance contract, which I think is a challenge for most IT departments to keep up with staggered maintenance contracts, co-termination, all that stuff. We take care of that for you with a 10-year support. And then we introduce a license. I think it's kind of a wash there. But what you get with the license is remote access to the system, remote management of the system, It's where you can store clips. Up to 24 hours of clips per camera per day can be stored in Amazon. And then you get a full copy backup for disaster recovery. So 30 days of footage is included with every license, full copy backup to the cloud. So in the event of that internet outage, which will inevitably come, you're going to lose the remote access, you're going to lose the remote management, but you can fail over to your LAN and get near full functionality from the system due to the fact that all the data is right there within your network. So with that, we'll keep moving. This is what I just talked about a little bit, the license, but the main thing to note there, 10-year hardware and software support, and then we covered the 4 main things you're getting with the license. I think the last thing I would say on that is the reason we keep it separate from the device, right? How do you purchase a Verkada device? You pick a device, you pair it with a license. Those 2 line items, that's all you need, and you have everything. We don't have cost per user. We don't have cost per feature, right? You're going to get all features. If you're a camera customer, you get everything, and unlimited users on the platform. So it's really just those 2 things you need to think about. With hardware, you're going to go, what retention do I need? 30, 60, 90, 120, 365. With the license, the question becomes, how do you want to consume the product? Do you have more of an operational budget? Are you getting pushed in that direction? If so, we can do an annual license that you pay every year. If you still want to stay in that CapEx model where you've got, a grant that you need to spend all at once and you can't stretch that money over time, we can give you a 10-year license for each device. So if you've been paying attention, that means the device is supported for 10 years, comes with a 10-year license. That's an all-in cost, no hidden fees, no additional charges, no cost per user, no cost per feature. So you can have an incredibly clear total cost of ownership day one and purchase that as a CapEx. We also do financing and all those other options. So really kind of any way you want to consume the product is out there, from an operational model to more of a traditional CapEx model. So and this just a timeline of, how we've grown so quickly. I think when you look at, there's a few competitors in the space that are building similar integrated platforms. And when you look at their trajectory and pace at which they put out new products compared to what we've done, it's very, very impressive. Next week is Verkada One, which is our annual customer summit. This is the second time we've had a customer summit. We've been around 7 years, and they do all our biggest releases at that. So we could see a new product line potentially next week, or just a bunch of really great updates to our existing product lines. But they play that pretty close to the vest, even for salespeople in the company. So I'm excited to hear about next week. But this is sort of how quickly we've been evolving the platform. As a customer, you should expect to get new updates and capabilities every quarter. And we do free trials on all of our equipment. So if you see something you like in the demo today and you go downstairs, you learn more about it and you want to test it in your building, we do free proof of concepts. So we'll send you all the equipment overnight, cameras, access control, intercom, sensors, whatever you want, however much you want, and you can set it up for up to 90 days. So feel free to do that. We encourage you to take on those trials. So next, I'm going to hop into Command. I will just jump in through Okta here just to kind of make the point that we do connect with identity management tools like Active Directory, LDAP, Okta, several others, so that you can automate groups and user permissions without having to manually create those in Command. When you terminate an employee, for example, anyone in IT will tell you the first thing they do is they take them out of Active Directory because that's access to data and applications. So then you're chasing your tail for a few weeks to get them out of the 6 or 7 security systems that you have. That's kind of the story we're told. I don't want to speak for everyone. But with Command, through that integration, when you kick them out of Active Directory, we're going to go ahead and scrape them out of our system right then. So you're not going to have to worry about trying to kick them out of those security systems later and have a couple weeks where someone could still get back on site. So from here, I'm going to click on Command Sales. It's right now just kind of looking at who Matt Brizendine is, realizes I'm just a lowly sales guy, can't change or do anything in this environment, just click around and look. And that's one of the great things when we talk about having unlimited users. The idea is we want you to bring everyone that may need access to this equipment into the system and know that you will have the granular ability to change their access and their ability to configure and tweak so that, we have 1,500 salespeople in this Command environment. This is a live environment from San Mateo on our headquarters, as well as our London office and a couple other locations. But we've got 1,500 salespeople concurrently working in this environment all day long. A couple things we do to enable that. We don't, if we're all tapping into the same camera feed, we're not going to send multiple streams out from our network. We're sending one stream up to Amazon, and then we duplex from Amazon out to all those users. So we can have 1,500 people working in this environment without bogging it down. And then that's the idea. We want you to bring everybody in. So every officer, every employee that needs it, bring them in, give them the right access, and let them run. So now I'm going to walk you through, sort of the environment. We'll click around through some features. We can chew up a lot of time in here. So again, if you see something you like, let's just take it downstairs after this is over. But I'll start with this little waffle icon in the corner. So when you come up here, this is where you're going to see right away the integration. We've got all of our products from cameras to mailroom, our gateways, alarms, visitor management, all right here, just a click away. We'll start on cameras. So you'll notice a lot of consistency across the home page. You're going to have some options down the left side, like the camera home. We do live grids. If you want to build your live video boards, right? So these aren't thumbnails that are updating. This is a live feed. You got your archives that live here. Again, unlimited archives on the system, up to 24 hours per camera per day. We created this as a customer feedback. I would just use this as an opportunity to talk about feedback. We get most of our updates and changes from customers who are using the product and submitting feedback to us. We want to listen to you and change based on your needs. And so a lot of people were saying, hey, you do have all these different systems and that's really great, but we still need to pull data from access control and then the cameras and then the intercoms to make a case when there was an incident. And they're using file shares to do something like that. Well, we built a file share into our platform, pushed it out as a free update to all those customers. And now you can create an incident, pull data from every single one of these products into that incident folder, share it across your org, and even share it out to investigators or police. Here's where we get into kind of how we track people and vehicles. We're going to come back to that. So going back to the home page, you're going to get a nice global view of all your cameras. So you can see San Mateo, there's some in London and other areas here. You'll have the ability, kind of like traditional camera competitors, to build out your normal trees that you like to use and click through. So you have that option as well. And then we have a really great Google Maps integration that you can, let me see, my cursor's disappearing on me here. There it is. So I'm sorry guys, there it is. My cursor disappeared on the screen. It's making it hard to navigate. So as you zoom in on the US here, you can see all the areas where you have cameras. I'm trying to drill down to San Mateo without a cursor. It's quite tricky. There we go. Is it up there? Okay, there it is. I'm like, where's it on my screen? Okay, so as I drill in here, I'm able to see the buildings on the street. You can see there were 3 buildings next to each other right there. We own all 3 of those buildings. When I click on one at a glance, I'm going to see that, hey, we've got cameras that are green. That means they're online and recording. Cameras are blue. That means they're getting an update from Verkada. You have the ability to tell us never update during business hours, only update at this time. And we don't come update all your cameras at once. We're going to look at motion analytics on each camera, and we're going to try to update during times where there's low motion. If you see a yellow camera like these here, that means that something's wrong with the camera. You need to open a trouble ticket. We do proactive notifications on every type of change to the device. Even if it just loses connectivity, you're going to be notified. So you won't have to worry about trying to pull footage off a camera just to find out it's been offline for a few weeks and the footage isn't there. And then if I click on the name of the building, so by clicking on any one of those cameras, it'll pop up the camera feed. But if I click on the name of the building, we get into the floor plan. So this is an interactive floor plan that we are working to bring every device that we build into this map. So first, you're going to see things like motion detection. So let's take a school lockdown scenario for kind of our worst case situation, right? When we look at Uvalde, the kind of understanding I have is that they couldn't get in the building quickly because they didn't know where the safe point of entry would be. So if all your students are in a classroom and you've got some perpetrator moving through the halls, this would give you a good idea of where he's at and what direction he's heading, so you can find your safe points of entry based off motion detection. We also do people heat maps, right? So as COVID and things like that challenge you to put, hand sanitizer pumps in certain areas of the building, or if you work in retail and you want to know where should we put the products we want to sell during Christmas, you can look back over the historical footage of your cameras and see where people congregate typically in your building and start doing product placement or things like that, even, kind of targeted cleaning and different things like that. And then finally, I'll show you the access control button that is interactive. So now you can start to see all your doors, all your gates, whether they're open, whether they're closed. And even from this map, right, you can do things like a remote unlock. So I can click that and remotely unlock the door from inside this console. And then if I need to share this with anybody, right, I can click on this. I can hit share floor plan. And then with just a phone number, literally just a phone number. It's not going to ask me for like 20 fields of data like most forms do. We're trying to move quick. So whether I'm sharing a camera feed or an entire floor plan, whatever I want to share out, I put in a phone number, an email. I give access to either live video or video and features. That's a decision I need to make. And then for the duration, how long do I want to share that? Once I've shared it out, if I decide, hey, I don't want to share it anymore, I can immediately pull it right back. And you're going to be able to share access to anything in the environment very quickly, very easily. I'm happy to share a camera feed with anyone in the room if someone wants to try that, but we'll come back to that here. So first thing I want to tell you is we're going to do a couple different camera searches. I'm going to jump into the other products. I don't want to spend all the time on cameras, but it's our eyes, right? So what we're doing at Verkada is we're personifying the building. We're giving it the same senses essentially that we have. And as you all know, vision would probably be on the top of everyone's list as like, don't take that one, right? So bringing vision to doors, bringing vision to sensors, bringing vision to alarms is actually the key that we're all trying to kind of needing. So we do spend a lot of time talking about our cameras. I'm going to show you how to do just a traditional historical date and time search, how you can search based off motion, and then some of the analytical facial recognition things that we're doing. So first things first, this is our camera landing page. So again, everything I'm about to show you is happening inside the device connected to PoE and talking to me through Amazon. So all the data that I'm churning and scrubbing is in the camera itself. So this is a live feed at the top of one of our 4K 30-day retention cameras. And as I scroll down, I'm going to see all 30 days of footage presented to me in 24-hour clips. If I need to scrub that footage, I can just move my cursor, give it a second to buffer, move my cursor left and right over that tile, and I'm going to be able to scrub the footage from here. Coming from Dell Technologies and knowing how a lot of customers are, I tried to ask the question, well, why would you scrub a 24-hour clip like that? That's cool, but it doesn't seem granular enough. They said, Matt, we thought of that. We can take it all the way down to 20-second time lapse. So if I wanted to do a date and time search, I would change it to 1 hour, and I would come over here to, sorry for my driving skills, I'm trying to, all right, come over here to the calendar, and I can go back again, in this case, 30 days. So let's say we want to see what happened on the 22nd at 2 p.m. I set the date, set the time, hit apply, and boom, I'm looking at the 2 to 3 hour time block now. So very easy to get to that date and time search. And then if you click into that, you're going to have some other abilities. You may notice, it's a good time to mention these little cameras that are popping up on the screen. This is one of our overlays. So we allow you to logically connect all the cameras nearby in order. So I can go to the next camera from the screen, and then in that camera, I'll have all the logical cameras next to it. So I can just walk through the building camera by camera through those logical connections. Those are called camera shortcuts. That's all going to be in historical and live. So you're going to have it in both places. When you come in here, you can scrub footage, click the bottom, drag it around. All those blue marks is anytime a person or vehicle was detected. And then if you want to create a clip, you hit these scissors down here, and you can very easily drag the bar. You can change the timestamp. You can even blur faces. You can add it to an incident. You can add tags and notes, like this was a theft, and then put some notes behind it. So a really clean way to organize all of those clips you create. Jumping back to the top, let's look at a motion search, right? So let's say someone left a laptop on this table right here. You want to see who took it. Turn it on your motion grid. And then you can basically put a box over that area, and it's going to search for every time a person or a vehicle entered that space. And so what we used to do this with the bike rack a lot. We would put it over the bike rack. You could see the bike is there, and then eventually the bike is gone. You watch that clip, you can see who took it. So very quickly able to get to like a stolen device if it's in the frame. And then you notice these green lines on the people walking. We're able to show their path from seeing the footage. So now when you're going back through historical footage and you're trying to see where someone went, you don't actually have to watch that whole clip to know the path that they took. These green lines will show you that. A lot of other cool stuff in there, but I want to keep moving for the sake of time. We've only got about 25 minutes left, and I want to show you some of these other products. And I think the analytics piece is really impressive too. So let's jump into that. This is where our cameras really shine, I think. So this all started with characteristic search and facial search. That was the two ways we could do it. We have a new one I'm going to show you today that's really, really powerful, but we'll go through the old ones first. So characteristic, right? I don't know the face, but I know the description. So let's look for someone who's got upper body, red shirt, lower body, blue jeans, gender appearance, we can say male, right? We can stack these filters, and as you can see how quickly these results are coming back as I'm filling out these filters. That's because we're not taking footage from 1,000, 4,000, however many thousand cameras you got back into the data center, into a data lake where you then have to query that data with a massive stack of servers to get through that data quickly. So we keep it distributed at the edge. This is an IoT product, really, if you're in that space. We keep the data distributed at the edge, and each device has its own ability to churn through its small amount of footage, and then they consolidate that result back to you, and that's how we get such quick results. And then, so yeah, you can see very high accuracy, males, red shirt, blue jeans. And if I keep scrolling, it'll go back through the full retention of the camera and bring me every single person that matches that description. I can also hit search all cameras. It'll hold that criteria and go and do this for every single camera, consolidate all that back. Before we do that, I'm going to click on faces. So now this is the person you do know, right? This could be an employee that got terminated. You want to make sure they don't come back on site. These could be parents that are banned from campus. Lots of examples of people you would want to know if they're on site. Perhaps it's just your boss and you want to be notified when they're there, right? So you can put those faces in the system and you will get a proactive notification if you turn them into a person of interest. So if I just use any one of these, right, I like to try to find one that may not be a great photo. Maybe like this little side shot here of this guy's face, see what we get. I'm just using this one image and the system's able to, again, just using that one image, which was captured on the camera footage and zoomed in. So you'll notice some of those headshots were a little grainy. It's because we took it from back here, we zoomed in and clipped it, and we just gave you every single face that we saw on the camera. So you can search for faces that we saw, or you can upload faces with pictures off of Facebook and things like that and go look for someone. But you can see, again, the accuracy off of just that one image. And this is going to bring back every single time he was seen in chronological order on this camera. And then again, I'll go ahead and hit search all cameras to show you sort of just using that one photo. We're going to get a picture of everywhere this person's been, inside the building, outside the building, across our other sites, anywhere he might go, all in chronological order. If I make this guy a person of interest, I'll be proactively notified the next time he shows up. So then I'll get a text message to my phone and message to Slack that says, hey, this person of interest just came on site. And then with vehicles, same thing there, right? We can do the characteristic search for vehicles. So show me red trucks. I'll save the time. We're not going to do it, but we do, red trucks, things like that. And then when we come to license plates, we track LPR. We have a camera that does up to 3 lanes, up to 85 miles an hour. We got a camera that does parking lots at about 35 miles per hour. So if you want to track plates, they come back within 3 seconds of being scanned. We're going to give you a timestamp, a plain text printout of the plate. So we can do things like a fuzzy search, partial plate search, a picture of the plate, and then full context of the area where the plate was captured. So when you watch that playback, you'll see it. How many times has this vehicle been seen against the camera's retention? Which camera picked it up? At what address? If you click into that, you're going to have all 10 sightings now in the same place for you to go back and review. If I click on any one of these, you're going to be able to watch the playback of the context where the plate was captured, have a lot of information on that. And you might notice here it says assign access user. So because of our integration, as we move into access control, we'll talk about how we can open doors, Bluetooth, remote access, things like that. But you can actually make the license plate part of your credential now. So if you're a credentialed user that is in the access control environment, you have certain permissions to get through doors, and everyone's putting fences around their buildings and access controlling those gates, you can put an LPR camera on the gate, pull up in your truck with your license plate linked to you as an access control user. Camera will open the gate for you based off your plate. You can badge it. We have 900 users in a 7-story building at Harris Central Appraisal District. Today, badge in, badge out using just license plates. This is something they'd wanted to do for years. They started working with us for cameras, and we put this in as a free proof of concept using our trial equipment. It was actually the linchpin to win the whole project, the cameras and everything, was because they couldn't figure out how to get that to work in a clean way, and people were tired of hanging out the window and badging in and out. So I'm gonna move back to the home screen on cameras to show you this last search, and then we're gonna move to some other products. We recently released an AI-driven search. It's really powerful, really cool. The latest change to it is we can now do and, or, and but statements. So I want to see all electric vehicles, electric cars, but not Tesla. So I can type that type of request. And now again, every single camera is doing its own search inside of the camera. We're not scanning a data lake of petabytes of footage, right? We're distributed across the devices. Each device is doing its own work. And I've already got the result back before I could finish the explanation. And we're seeing a bunch of electric vehicles, but we're not seeing any Teslas, right? Another example would be like person eating a taco, because that's how you get ants. If anyone watches Archer. And so, yeah, now we got everybody stuffing their face in the office, so we can do that. But it really is powerful. Like, let's say you're trying to find a delivery person that maybe went into an area they weren't supposed to. You want to find a person with a hand truck. So you type that, now the hand trucks start showing up. But you're looking for the guy that was wearing a vest. Right, so you add and a vest, and it should narrow down to people who have a hand truck. Searching. Sorry, guys. Let me just refresh the page here. There we go. So you'll notice we had a lot of people with hand trucks, no vest. This should narrow it down for us so we can actually see the difference there and what you get in that result, the accuracy of that. So I'll leave it there for now on the AI search. We're going to move on to some other products so we don't just, stick on cameras the whole time. It's really easy to do that. If you guys leave today saying Verkada is a really cool camera company, I will have failed you. We are the only native integrated platform in the market today. That's what I want you guys to take home. So let's jump into some of these other products. Next would be access control. We talked a bit about how you can do LPR gate unlock. That's what we're doing here. You can see at a glance that this garage door is LPR gate unlock capable, Bluetooth unlock capable, as well as remote unlock. So I'm here in Texas, but I can remote unlock this door with just a click of a button. I'm able to see all my different doors. We do wireless locks with Schlage and Assa Abloy. So if you have wireless locks on doors that are difficult to electrify because it's an old cinder block building or something like that, we can swap a knob, give you full access control, pull it into command, and you'll be able to see the battery life and the status in here as well. If I click on any one of these doors, let me find a good one, our railroad kitchen door, or let's see, the railroad stairs. So basically at a glance, I'm going to say, okay, I've got a camera on the door. That's great. I can see the name of it. I can see what reader it's actually connected to, what access levels it has, its schedule. But then if I click into it, I'm going to get multiple cameras, right? Every door has two sides. We want to see what's going on both sides of the door. And then we're going to be able to remote unlock from within the console. But we track different events. So instead of showing you an event on this door, I'm going to use this opportunity to talk a bit about reporting. So if you get audited, access control reports can be challenging, right? So we're going to come in here and say, over the last 7 days, across all users, all groups, all doors, all sites, show me my tailgating events. I like tailgating because that's a hard one, right? The way we get tailgating is that these products are all intelligent. They're connected on a network and they're talking to each other without human mediation. So you got a badge reader on the door, gets my badge. I bring 3 of my buddies in the building. As soon as I hit that reader, it tells the camera that's linked to it, I've got 1 credential. Can you count using the computer vision how many bodies come through the threshold? If we got 4 bodies in 1 badge, we know that's a tailgating event. We're going to go ahead and grab all that footage, clip it for you, put it into an event log where you can just go back and search for tailgating events like I just did. So I created this report. It's telling me every user that hit the badge, and then I can come over here to the side. And if I hit watch event, we've got video footage linked to the report, built into the report, and we'll be able to verify, look, there's the guy badging, and both people are going to walk through the building. So very high accuracy on our ability to catch tailgating events, and this is a huge security concern that's difficult to track. All righty, where's my mouse? I'm all over the place with this cursor. Okay. A couple other things I just want to point out in access control that kind of speaks to how we're listening to our customers, right? So fire drills, things like that. We have this roll call, it's in beta. You can basically build out reports of your employees, of people, and you can create muster points on your campus. So if you have a fire drill at a school district and everyone goes east or west based on their room, you can have a muster point at the east side and a muster point at the west side. And everyone that goes out there, hit the badge, let me know you're safe. Now say you got 900 people you're tracking, maybe only 820 hit the badge, but now you're looking for 80 people. You're not having to vet 900. It speeds up your ability to validate the safety of everyone and learn, hey, there is someone left in the building. Let's go find them. That's one of the things we added because customers were asking for it. If I come into users here, badging. We had customers telling us that, hey, we always have to use a third-party software to create badges, and we'd like to have that within our access control system. So Verkada built a badge designer and sent it out as one of those free updates for our access control users. So you can come in here, you can create as many custom badge types as you like, front and back, 4K images, custom fields, barcodes, logos, everything you want. Really easy to design badges in here. And then we can print them off on pretty much any printer that can connect to a laptop. So just a couple things there. And then the way that we can badge in, just so I mentioned that, we use the normal credential, right? The physical badge. We have on iPhone, we can put a digital credential in Apple Wallet. So if you want to use that, you've got to give a facial recognition to get to the credential, right? So you have 2-factor on the credential in your phone. We do Bluetooth unlock as well as remote unlock through the console. And so with Bluetooth unlock, we just released a couple new features on the reader. So a scenario that can be troublesome if you have Bluetooth unlock enabled, where I keep my phone in my pocket, I get near the door, it knows it's credentialed, it lets me walk through the door. I never have to badge anywhere, right? That's nice, convenient. But if I'm inside an area that needs to be secured and I'm walking past that reader, I could inadvertently unlock it and let someone come through the door. So we just released an update to all of our readers where we can actually take that radial sort of Bluetooth signal and we can directionally point it towards the side of the wall that we want to allow people to unlock. But we even took it a step further where if I'm the reader and I sense a credential in range, before I unlock, I'm going to wait for a hand wave in front of the reader. Once I get the hand wave and the credentials in the zone, I know that this person's actually trying to come through the door. We'll let them through the door. We also, for manufacturing customers, just created anti-passback about 6 months ago. So now if you walk in a door with a badge and try to slide it under the door for the next guy to come in behind you, won't let him badge in until you badge out. So now we have anti-passback as well. I'll leave it there for access control unless anyone has a specific question. And obviously we can get downstairs and go get in the weeds on that stuff too. But just want to keep rolling through some of these other products if that's okay. All right, next would be, let's see, I'm going to go to intercoms now. So these are a really great product. Gives you a 130-degree wide angle camera, does all the analytics that every other Verkada camera does. So now when you bring this intercom into your environment, not only is it integrated with all the other tools, it's going to give you another security camera that's going to sit and function right there in the camera homepage. So you'll see when I jump into this camera here, or into this intercom, I'm going to have my live feed. I'm going to have events, video. And when I click video, it's just going to take me back to a camera video, like where I can do all the analytic searches and all the stuff we did on the camera page. But what we're looking at here is the live feed. So I've got the ability to talk down through a 90 decibel speaker built into this intercom. I can remote unlock the door from right here. You know, we get kind of pigeonholed as a proprietary company. I think there's some reasons for that. We ensure 4 nines of uptime on the command platform, and anyone who works with integrations knows that when companies that are not your product do updates and changes, it can break those integrations. If the platform goes below 4 nines, we guarantee that. So that would be a really big problem for us in the market. So we got to move slow enough that we can keep 4 nines of uptime on command. But we did just recently come out with a cloud connector, which allows you now for the first time ever to pull any competitor cameras into any on-VIF capable cameras into command now, and even layer on our analytics into command. So all the stuff I showed you is no longer limited to just Verkada cameras in that environment. You can take your existing infrastructure, start with phase 1 with Verkada, get the command connector to pull your remaining cameras, and then as you walk across to a full Verkada environment, you're going to be able to have a consolidated view within command. We started by pushing our streams through RTSP out into Video Insight or whoever it may be. And so we would say, hey, look, we really know you can't rip and replace everything at once when you got 4,000 cameras. And it was a limiting factor, right? Customers were hesitant to bite it off because they were going to run systems side by side. And we would say, oh, well, you can push our feeds into your existing VMS. Well, now we can pull those cameras into command, and we can even layer our analytics on top of those cameras. So really no limit there. And then again, as far as that idea that we're proprietary, I totally understand where that comes from. Our desire is to be open. The limiting factor is the uptime. This product here, the intercom, works with all third-party access control solutions. It's not competitive in any way or proprietary in any way to your current environment. So if you just want to get a better doorbell system and you're not looking across all these other products, these intercoms are the best in the market, in my opinion, having looked at a lot of them, and they'll work with whatever you have on your door today as a ability to unlock that door when you get a call. And it also has a single door controller built into it. So you can put this on your wall and with a 2-wire connect a reader to it, and you can power that reader off the intercom without having to go back to a Mercury panel in the back or something like that. So a couple more things. When you're in this live view, you're going to see through the camera that is the intercom. You're going to also see extra cameras on the side at the door. When we come into events, right, we can see events like missed call, no entry, admitted. We're going to have audio of all those, when the door was unlocked, who took the call. We'll even transcribe the conversation into text so you don't have to listen to it. And then when you look at receivers, right, this is how you kind of schedule who's getting what calls when. It's a really clean environment. You can set up off hours, you can set up holidays, and really easy to use there. I'm going to keep it rolling. We're getting close to time. I think we got 7 minutes left. So trying to think. Let me show you guest and alarms. That's going to be the ones I choose. I mean, we can't get through all of it, but again, please come down and look at some of these other products like our environmental sensors, the gateway, mailroom, all really great products. But I'd be remiss not to show you alarms because that's how we actually respond, right? All these things I'm showing you so far are just modern detection capabilities. We're heightening the detection capability of the building. If you leave it at that, you just got a baby that cries in the middle of the night with no milk in the fridge, right? So you actually want to create an automated, instantaneous triage that happens when the event is detected, right? So when the detection occurs, we already have a plan to stop it. This is how cybersecurity evolved, right? It used to be detection, you had SIM, endpoint, and network, all detection, detection, detection. And now we know it's all detect and respond, detect and respond, detect and respond. That's how we handle threats, and physical security is doing the same thing. So visitor management, I want to show you basically very high level here. We have the ability just to integrate. Oh, I'm taking my permissions away. All right. Okay. So what I wanted to show you is not in here, but basically we can put live camera feeds from the lobby in the guest console now. So the receptionist would be at this view. They would be able to see the lobby and record everything that's happening there. We're going to take the visitors. We're going to make them fill out forms. We're going to do criminal and sex offender background check across all 50 states and Interpol as well. About 3 seconds, we get that back. We can print sticker badges from here. We can send invites out to people you want to court and bring on site. In those invites, we can push Bluetooth codes to your gate, Bluetooth codes to your front door, so they can drive on site, get up to this guest station, and then log in and take their picture. When we take their picture, we're going to use that photo to track them across every single camera while they're on site. We're going to pull every single one of those sightings back to their guest login. We're going to hold it there in perpetuity. We also allow you to put access control inside the console that is managing visitors. So now your receptionist can see those doors that are real far away, that are lock and key, that someone has to get up, walk across the facility to open it. Now you put access control on that, plug it in here. They can pop open that feed. They can look at the access control, the schedule. They can say, oh, that's our contractor. We want to let him in the building. Let's go ahead and hit that lock and remote unlock the door from inside the visitor console, right? So I point this out just to highlight the integration piece. And then let me just wrap it up with alarms. Basically, every product that we have is able to be used to detect threats, right? You can use cameras to detect motion. You can use access control to tell that someone's trying to penetrate the building. You can use traditional alarm sensors like door contacts, water intrusion, window break sensors, motion detection, panic buttons. We can use existing equipment that's already been wired into your building by just plugging it into our alarm panel. We also have a full line for all 5 of those products: panic button, water intrusion, window break, motion, and I'm missing one, but we make wireless ones. So if you want to put those type of door contact, if you want to put that stuff in your building, we have wireless hubs that you can connect up to 60 devices to, and you can just start plugging in traditional alarm sensors off of a wireless hub without having to run wire anywhere in the building. All of that stuff's going to feed back into command. So I guess the simplest way to put it, I'm going to open up one of these sites here. So you have your activity. You can see the devices, right? So these are all the different devices that might be triggering an alarm that we've set up to be, detection devices. Whenever I'm trying to think how I want to say this. So here you can see alarm triggers. We got cameras, wired sensor, wireless sensors, access control, something went offline. When you come into alarm responses, right, we use humans to monitor this. This is not an AI-driven thing. Basically, the monitoring service waits for something to happen, and it follows your directions on an if-then scenario. So if it's a threat to person or property, go ahead and raise an alarm. If the agent can't determine, just call me. If it's a person inside the building with no visible threat, disarm the site, right? Because we know that about 98% of alarms are false alarms. And what happens is people heighten the detection capability, the false alarms start flooding in, and then they turn off the detection capability because of alert fatigue. So this type of service will sit between your team, whether it's a 24-hour security team or whether it's a team that just works during normal business hours. They will sit between you and those alerts and filter out that 98% of the noise so that when it hits your desk, it's a real threat. And what that call might sound like compared to a call from the past. ADT used to call, they'd say, hey, this is ADT, this is Matt, you had a door held open event in sector 19, would you like me to dispatch police? You're getting out of bed, you're making some phone calls, you're maybe driving on site because you can't just dispatch police and it'd be a rug in the door, right? They can charge you for that, they'll stop coming out. So you got to be correct if it is a threat. And what we would do is we would call and say, hey, this is Matt with Verkada. We noticed motion at the perimeter of your building on some of your cameras. We saw a couple guys come on the property with ski masks. So we went ahead and dispatched police. We then saw them go up to the door and they popped open one of the doors. When they started to try to enter the building, we talked down through some of the speakers and we turned on the strobe lights and we told them, hey, police are on the way. You're being viewed by a live agent. You need to get off site. It does look as if they left, but police are on the way. If you'll sit up in bed, we sent you a live link. You can click that and you'll be able to watch all of this happen through your phone. So we have a phone app that mirrors everything I'm showing you here. It's very, very user friendly. And you can see all of those things working and work with that response team through the app. And then finally, last thing I'll show you here is kind of how we close out when we do have an event. So under this activity log, you're going to see things like, oh, Gary Lee disarmed the site. Here's something that an agent reviewed. Here's an alarm was raised. So when we have a real alarm and everything's finally calm, We had the good monitoring service so that it went smooth. We had the automated instantaneous triage. We were able to detect the threat with all the detection capabilities. Now the event's over and you get that call that says, hey, go ahead and build me a report so that we can track this event and file it for future reference. Well, we're going to create that report for you, and this is what it looks like. So we see on November 4th at 2:58, site was armed. 3:26, an alarm was raised because a monitoring agent verified a threat to person or property at 1 minute and 7 seconds at this camera. Here's that footage. Here's the people that were contacted. The call was connected. Police were dispatched to this address. An arrest was made. It was a real alarm because of suspicious activity. And then you can hit edit and you can go customize that report however you like. But we're going to take 90% of that work and build it for you to close out that instance, to close out that threat, and then let you come tailor it and customize it however you like. So, nice. That was perfect timing. So thank you guys very much. I didn't mean to go right to the time, but it's a lot to cover. So thank you all so much.